Hello and welcome back to Sprite Guard Plays HyperRogue. We are just about ready to head back into the overgrown woods, see if we can take on the clearing. We have 3 mutant saplings in our possession, and so we just need to find a few more, but that's going to require finding our way into an overgrown wood to begin with. So we have already used up our flash spell. Here we go. Here is an entrance right here. Let's wait for this gargoyle and start to make our way in. So we still need 2 more mutant saplings, so that's what we're going to be getting first. I think if we cut there, that's probably the best way in. There we go. And just one more, so let's kind of scan the horizon, see if there's any in sight, and there's one right there. Now, we will have to deal with this troll, so we'll deal with that first, and then cut in this way. And I just noticed that there are 2 ivies. It looks like neither one is particularly close to firing. So we're just going to grab that, and then we want to back off a little bit, and make sure that we are separated from the mutant ivies that we see by a fairly narrow passage, because that way we can kind of limit how they can approach us and make it a lot easier to deal with them. So we should be able to see clearings now, though I do not see any yet. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep gathering up these saplings. We are going to want 10 eventually. And so I don't think it's at all a bad thing to continue gathering them up until we see a clearing that we can go into. And I could be misremembering the actual requirement, because most of the the horocyclic lands require 5 treasures, but I don't know that that's a guarantee. And so while we're on the lookout for one, we may as well gather up the saplings that we need. We can't do that. Okay, back up. Go in there. That we're going to need for... My ultimate goal is a Hyperstone quest, though that is quite a long way away. I do want to one thing that I was thinking about was I was talking in a previous episode about the areas in the game, especially the jungle and the mirrored land, where I have gone from being very uncomfortable and really kind of seeing them as lands that are very difficult for me to deal with, to now being able to deal with them pretty easily. And so I would like to, as much as possible, try and go through the game and sort of reach that point with every land eventually. I don't know if it's even possible with some of the lands. Especially the whirlpool, I know, is going to be extremely difficult. Now, I'm not too happy about going in here because we have another ivy on screen that can actually reach us here. And so it might actually be worthwhile to try and find our way to a different clearing. But if we can get into this one quickly enough, and it looks like we will not be able to get in quickly enough, so it's likely that we will see one creeping in from over there. We can kind of continue to make our way around this way, though. It's entirely possible that that one will either get blocked by ivy that is off to our left, or will de-aggro. And now, as we kind of wind around, we're going to be looking out for mutant fruit, and I see one now. So let's see. The way to take this on, I've been kind of studying this land in my off-camera play, and the way to take on this land is really to pay attention to just the order that these ivies are going to catch up with you, and not worry about being surrounded. Just worry about the tempo that you're surrounded at. Oh, that was a mistake. So we do have to pay a bit more attention to the tree structure. And we do have to pay a little bit of attention to what we're actually going to be cutting open. For instance, oh dear. So we have a lot of ivies leaking in here now, and that actually makes me want to just run away, and we will try and find a different clearing that is easier for us to take on. And I'm not seeing a good escape route here. What I really want to find is a clearing that has no other ivies accessible to it. And the simplest way is to do something like that with a troll. And I think we're actually in such a place now. So let's make our way in here, see if we can get to those mutant fruits. And just be careful about tempo. And be careful about not cutting down the tree structure. So let's see, we can cut that safely. We can cut this safely, and that will let us grab that. And then that one we can cut safely to grab that. And now we just need to kind of keep making our way around. So we have to just count out when each of these is going to get to us, and they're still at staggered times. Now this one's going to catch up to us, but we don't mind. We can cut that one and get into there, and then this one we can't cut. We have to go around and cut there, and that's our fourth. And now we want to just kind of focus on combat and not worry too much about if we're getting pushed back, because we can kind of start to cut our way back in pretty easily. And we do need to focus on getting deeper, because this is a cyclic land, horocyclic land. A problem that we're going to be running into is that traveling around the boundary is not going to reveal any new interior. We can travel much faster through the interior than we can along the boundary. And so we just want to keep that in mind and make our way, as much as we're able to, make our way toward the center. We're not going to be able to do that really well because we don't have a great view. I haven't, we can kind of look at, okay, where is the ivy originating from? But I'm not confident, I think, in my ability to... Oh dear. Oh dear, 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 dear. Let's see. That should work, and then that, and then that. And then we can grab that, and cut that, and that. So I think by looking at where the ivy is coming from and what ivies we're killing, we can actually learn the route to the center. So let's see, we'll wait for that and cut it, and then start cutting these. And then those two are going to get to us at the same time, so we'll just deal with them like that. And then those two are actually going to conflict, so we can just let them do that. And then cut that, and that gets a lot of that stuff out of our way. And we've got our sixth. So now this one, let's see, this one's going to come at us in the next turn, and then that one, very nicely synchronized here. And then we can get in there, and there. And so we're really getting this down to a science at this point. Doing very well, very smoothly. Feeling pretty confident about my ability to get these last two mutant fruits. So let's see if we can do that. And really the key idea, the key thing that Zeno pointed out that has made all the difference was when I really consciously started looking for a way of not getting pushed back. And that was when I started figuring out how to read the kind of the patterns and how to stand my ground a little better. And that is our new achievement, Red Fox Collect 10 Mutant Fruits. Now, I did not remember there being red foxes in this game. And so I'm a little bit curious if we're now going to see that. But for now, what I want to do is make my way out of here and see if we can get our way back to a crossroads where we're going to be on the lookout for an Orb of Freedom, I think, which I have not seen yet. I can use that troll to block that exit. So now we are just going to be wandering a little bit, and I feel like in my off-camera play, in my practicing on mobile, I have really turned this land around. I've gone from being kind of unable to deal with it to, not being the greatest at it, but being able to make my way through it without an immense amount of trouble. So now we're just on the lookout for a crossroads, and we're going to be crossing the desert. We don't actually have any spice, so it would be worthwhile to start picking up some spice. Because as I said, I do want to make this into a Hyperstone quest. We also have the Princess quest waiting for us, though that is something that I want to do some very intensive practicing and some very careful preparations, and so going on this Hyperstone quest will actually set up a lot of the preparations. They're going to be similar between the two. But for now, really just focusing on what's immediately in front of us is just going to be, we're going to get the spice, we're going to look for any of the lands that we are in really immediate need of. Main one is the crossroads, and here's one right here. Let's see, we do need one more spice. I miscounted. And the minefield is actually one of the other places that we need to go. We can't actually fight the metal beast. I think we can only stun it, yeah. So we're going to have to run away. And I think it might be worthwhile to head into this minefield. So let's see, can't go in through that one. That one works, we can get in through here. And so now we just want to gather up treasures. And, of course, if we see a crossroads, I'm going to probably dip into it so that we can look for the new orb that we've unlocked. Because that is kind of the more interesting, more exciting thing that I am looking forward to. But this, going through the minefield like this is part of the longer-term plan. This is going to get us access to friendly bomber birds, which are going to open up some parts of the game to us. And there actually is a crossroads, so let's see if we can find our way to it. And just grab a couple of bomber bird eggs before we go in there. So, now we have to do a little bit of logicking. So this one, we know, is only adjacent to one space that could be a mine. So this one, we can clear the other cells around it, and that has opened up a nice clear area for us. And that will get us into the crossroads, and we actually have a couple of friendly bomber birds that we can possibly pick up along the way. Let's see, this one, we know, can only have one cell next to it. So this one, we know... these other two will be safe. And then we know that that one will be safe. There we go. And then we can head out into the crossroads and pick up this one right here. This is an Orb of Discord, actually. I thought it was a friendly bomber bird. Because it was a little bit far away. Let's see, is this an Orb of Life? So we can continue building up our army a little bit. Come on, bird. There we go. Now let's see if we can find that Orb of Life. And we now want to avoid orbs of flash and storms. But other than that, we should be able to pick stuff up. And I don't really want to save and quit just yet, because I want to find this Orb of Freedom. And I don't know how rare it is. That's something that we're kind of going to have to find out. Orb of Flash, don't want that. Let's see, Orb of Luck. I don't think Orb of Luck actually affects orb drops. Let's see, find new lands more easily, lands where you've already collected less treasure, and especially the crossroads are more likely to spawn while you have it. Orbs of Safety are more likely to spawn in the whirlpool, so not very useful to us right now. Let's see, Orb of Shielding. Fairly useful, though it doesn't last very long, so it's not especially useful. And I don't want to... You can't hurt your golems. You can sacrifice the birds, so you have to be careful about them, but you just swap places with the golems. We can pick up another Orb of Friendship, and another Orb of Life, and even another Orb of Shielding. And so, really, we're just kind of grinding at this point. We're just looking for the orb that we want, and we can continue picking up Orbs of Discord. Orb of Luck still doesn't do all that much for us, but we are building up a pretty good army, which is exactly what I wanted. So I am pretty pleased right now. And we are actually going to be pretty well equipped for a princess quest in not too long. Though I don't feel like I personally am ready for that. But hopefully we can keep this army with us. And then probably in next week's episode, by next week's episode, I hope to be ready. It looks like we have lost a bird, unfortunately. But that is kind of the nature of having an army trailing you like this, is that they do sometimes get lost, and they do sometimes get into fights that they can't get out of, especially with the rose gardens that we're going past, I think. Oh, is this Orb of Freedom? Alright, let's see what this does. This orb is activated if you are unable to escape without making illegal moves or going through cells which are currently adjacent to enemy monsters. Most game over situations are covered by this, but generally this orb is oversensitive. When activated, it creates a flash effect of radius 5. Wow. That's not really something that we want to have along with our army, but I kind of feel like I'm more interested in picking this up and seeing how it works than I am in preserving this particular army. And so this might actually... Oh, it is very short in length, and so we may actually want to get out of the Rose Garden immediately. And we might lose some golems to the scent. We'll see if they can get out of here. Looks like they're doing okay. So yeah, that is very short in duration. So that is good to keep in mind. We may need some Orbs of Time. So going to sea is probably something that we will want to do at some point. So in the next episode, we are going to be... I'm going to spend the next week practicing the Princess Quest and practicing commentating it. Then, when we come back, I will see whether or not I'm feeling ready. And depending on whether or not I'm feeling ready, we will take that on, or we will try and take on some of the other lands that I struggle with. The Dead Cave, the Red Rock Valley, the Zebra. And I think there are... The Whirlpool is another one that I am not totally confident with, and I just bumped my controller, but I did not create the kind of sliding out of control that this game used to have, which is cool. Thanks very much to Xeno for patching every bug that I have ever encountered in this game. He's been doing such a great job with this game. Thank you to begin with for making this game. It's so wonderful. So, next week we will be taking on some big challenge, though I don't know which yet. Until then, thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.